Welcome to another edition of Inside Guyana. Today in our studio we have two prominent Guyanese representing a political party in Guyana. So please join me in welcoming them to our program Inside Guyana. Mr. General Secretary of the Queen's Chapter of the Alliance for Change. Welcome to the program Inside Guyana, sir.
Thank you very much, Rudy.
And Mr. Collin Haynes, the Director of Youths in the Queen's Chapter of the Alliance for Change. Welcome to the program Inside Guyana.
Thank you, Rudy. It's my pleasure.
Let us start off with the end of the last general elections in Guyana. We heard a lot during the campaign period here in the diaspora that the PPP government was corrupt. And that is why they should be removed. They're incompetent. They have cronyism, rampant cronyism, bringing their friends and family there, giving them contracts here and there. And the people believe that, and they voted for the coalition government that was campaigning for change. Now they're in power, and unfortunately, or fortunately, we haven't seen any of those PPP officials charged or in jail as yet. So it is very important to let you know that the diaspora is very concerned, and they probably believe, some of them believe that you are your AFC and APNU have lied to them during the campaign about this corruption thing. And maybe there is some corruption, maybe it's not enough to charge them. So how would you, Mr. General Secretary, address this issue and concern of our viewers in the diaspora here in New York City?
Thank you very much, Rudy. First of all, we must understand no country is corruption-free. Nobody can say to me that even until now, Guyana is corruption-free. But any proper investigation that is done requires time. I don't know if you remember when the FIFA investigation was done with the American officials. It took more than 5 years for the FBI to get a conclusive case to close on those people, Jack Warner and those people, to get them indicted. My take on it, I'm of the opinion that I think things are moving too slow. I mean, especially on these investigations. But a government has a choice. You can either look backwards or you can look forward. I believe that wrongdoing should be investigated, but it should be investigated by the professional team, meaning the police, the State Asset Recovery Unit, whichever other investigative arm of the state. Let the professionals focus on that and let them do a professional job. It shouldn't be a political witch hunt. And the political leaders should focus on the future, which is growing the economy, making sure that the good life is created for all, taking care of the proactive things to take the country to a different level. But I believe, especially with the case of the $600 million cash depletion from the former office of the president by a minister, a female minister, the case is going from the DPP to the police, from the DPP to the police, from the police back to the DPP. It is kind of frustrating even for me that such an easy open and shut case is taking so long. But this brings out a more important point. The depletion of the capacity of the state, both past and present, to be able to execute sometimes even elementary functionalities. So our investigative capacity to investigate white-collar crime is stymied. I mean, it's clearly a revelation that a simple case whereby you have all the evidence and all the receipts and the cash, how the cash is going out of the office, the former office of the president, to this individual, allegedly, and this case cannot be closed. So it is frustrating even to some of us.
So what would you want to tell our viewers on this subject?
I believe, well, what I want to say is that we should put it into the hands of the professional, but I believe firmly that we should seek help from international agencies like the FBI, the Scotland Yard, to help us to take these cases to conclusion, because it is clear that the investigative arms of of those agencies, the DPP, the police, is very weak, extremely weak, I might say.
Okay, so let us move on to Mr. Collin Haynes, sir. One of the topical issues during the election campaign was security.
Mm-hmm.
I remember attending some of the campaign events, and Mr. Granger himself said at Narisa Palace here in New York City, Guyana lacks security. Mm-hmm. Citizens are dying, they're being slaughtered. Mm-hmm. And the man to make you secured or feel secured when you come back to Guyana is standing right in front of you. And that was Granger talking. Mm-hmm. It's on my YouTube, his speech. Yeah. And today, we still, up to a couple of days ago, we heard 10 gangsters went into Water Street, Georgetown, America Street, Georgetown, and held up these money changers, took away their money, and that's it. So what is happening? Did they lie to the Guyanese? Did they can take care of the security situation, or there's something else happening that we don't know? Can you please advise our viewers of ITV here on this program inside Guyana?
The issue of security is a very unique situation that we're experiencing now in Guyana. I think it will call for a collective effort, which means that we still have to go back to the drawing board and re-engage the communities, re-engage our policymakers. Drawing back to about 2-3 years ago, when the United Kingdom had proposed for us their assistance in the UK in a security strategy. And there is some money there available. And
so that might take 5 years?
No, actually I think one of the things the minister has been saying is that they're working to re-engage the United Kingdom. Recently we had the UN conference, the General Conference, and President Granger sat down with President Cameron, well, Prime Minister Cameron rather, and they talked about bringing back that strategy. And so we're hoping that because that's going to be able to come back to the table, because the monies and the training and so forth and the technology can move us a step much more closer. I think also we need to sit down and formulate some very stringent policies and as it relates to drug trafficking, as it relates to crime. We see a lot of murders that are happening, a lot of robberies, rapings, and so forth. And I think that we need to also look at an interdisciplinary plan on involving both the police and the military as well into fighting crime. I think that's one of the things that we have to go back now and formulate strategies. There is a difference between a law and enforcement, and a lot of we pay a lot of attention on the laws. We know what the laws are, and the laws are violated. Those are known. But how do we enforce security for our citizens? That's where we need to have concrete plans. We've been talking about having an inadequate police force, and so now the job is to be able to quickly train enough of these police officers, get them into the villages, get them into the communities, so that they'll be able to respond quickly to some of these incidents.
Any idea how long this training process will take?
Well, traditionally, if I may add, traditionally the training course is 6 months in the police school.
6 months.
6 months. So and the police force has a training capacity of 660 men a year. There's a need for 2,000 police persons.
So we're going to have a very top-heavy police force?
No, these are constables. These are law enforcers at the very elementary level. The challenge is that there's a shortage of frontline police officers, and that is a big problem. And I want to piggyback off of what Collin is saying, is that we need to use the facilities of the entire state to bring to bear a stronger police force onto the law enforcement arena across Guyana. That is very, very important. This is not a police problem only. This is a national problem. It pains me to open the papers in the morning to read about some of the criminal activities that are happening. I mean, yeah.
Now, we all know that President Granger, brigadier, retired, and Mr. Harmon, the minister of the Ministry of the Presidency, and Mr. Collins, advisor, former head of the Army, Mr. Gary Best, also former head of the Army, and many others, Mr. Felix. They're all in law enforcement, they're all in military, with a military background. And it is very shameful, I should say, to know that this is their bread and butter, this is what they learned all their lives. And to allow the crime situation to get out of hand, the security situation to become so weak, is a reflection of their inability to put it straight. Would you agree with me here, or you have something else to say?
If I can
yeah, please go ahead.
I want to say that I think we have the right personnel. I think I have great confidence in President Granger and his ability to fight crime and to resolve Guyana's security situation. However, I'd like to say that right now we're at the part where we're transitioning into having the right teams in place. And this takes time to get the right experts, to get the right folks in the correct areas. Along with that, we need to, fast track formulating these concrete plans, getting all of our partners together, like we've been talking about the UK, and getting the police force, collaboration with the GDF and so forth, and we have some,
so they're putting things in place.
Yeah, I think things are being put in place. Our Minister of Security,
I hope they can speed it up, because it's taking 6 months already.
Well, Rudy, we've taken over a very corrupt, a very bad a government, a very bad security sector, and for 1 minute we have to think that this will take some time. And I know there's a general expectation on the ground that things must happen right away. And I know that these guys are working. Never I'm going to question our president's integrity or his team's integrity. I think they are committed, they're dedicated to the task.
No one is questioning the integrity. What we're looking at the facts. The facts that the crime situation is...
But Rudy, if I may jump in...
Not being controlled as swiftly as we expected. We put this guy there, he tells us he's going to do it. That doesn't mean they knew what was happening. They knew that there is a security problem in the country, and from the time they get there, they should have, people expected them to clamp down right away, because they know what the security situation should be.
Yeah. Rudy, I want to jump in on that point, because I think we do have a good team. I think we have a better team than what was there before right now.
We can't say
enough.
that with the evidence that we have.
Well, but the point is, it's been only 6 months. There's two things that we need to look at. One, it's only been 6 months. We're trying to clean up a problem that was there since Roger Khan days, which has never been cleaned. It was just being pushed forward every day and every occasion. But I agree with you that the problem has to be fixed. But 6 months to fix the problem
so you need some more time.
Is asking a lot. But in addition to that, I need to say that when you're in opposition, you only have access to a certain amount of security information. So you only understand a certain extent of the problem. Well, upon assuming government, though, that is when you really get the full security brief and understanding the full extent of the mess. So we had a strategy on the campaign trail in our manifesto. It was based on the information we knew at that time. Upon assuming office and getting the real picture, being invited to the highly sensitive joint security meetings at Office of the President and so forth, our Minister of Public Security, Mr. Ramjatan, Prime Minister Nagamutu, President Granger, who's an expert in security, and all of these people, and Minister Joe Harmon. Now, when they're seeing the full extent of the challenge, they had to do some tweaking of the security strategy to accommodate the reality now. So that took some time, and it's evolving. I mean, one of the things I've noted, even though I said to you, I'm extremely distressed when I see my Guyanese people being brutalized. But one of the things we need to note, there is a slow but consistent growth in the capturing of the criminals. Now, we can capture criminals two ways. We can go the Roger Khan way, which is all illegal and clandestine and innocent people getting consumed sometimes in the interest of capturing the bad guys. Or we can do what you call clean Scotland Yard kind of investigative, an FBI kind of investigative surveillance, gathering of evidence, and going after the bad guys, which means reducing the collateral damage for good people. Because and this government has chosen the latter part, which is let's do proper investigations, and that takes time.
Okay, let us move on to a different topic today. Security, I'm sure our viewers would understand what you said, and they would, make their determination. I hope
Of course.
Sure.
that would be satisfactory answers for them.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of youth, one of the criticisms we have been hearing is that the government, the current government, the new coalition, APNU, AFC government, has sheer old people inside. They have forgotten about the youths. I've read on Facebook some of the comments from APNU and AFC members themselves criticizing the government, saying that, look, they forgot about the youths, and you have sheer old men and some old women also. So what is going on? Why are they not including more youths into this administration? Do they have something against youths?
I don't think the current government has anything against young people.
Let me bring this point, since you're opening this
He's the director
response.
of youth.
You're the director of youths.
Yeah.
And you yourself campaign in Guyana, and you were you were expecting a job there as a youth man, as a qualified, not only youth man, as a qualified person with lots of qualifications behind your name, and you're not even offered a position. But instead, people less qualified than you and not as youthful as you are given positions. So what is going on?
I think generally with our young people, the expectation from our campaign was that the youths would be more involved in government, which means at all levels, cabinet, parliament, boards, agencies as well. And I think that we have deviated a bit from that expectation. I'm still the work of the cabinet. The cabinet has already been pretty much assigned. Our parliament is pretty much a done deal. But I still think that there's a unique opportunity for our boards to have more youth representatives on our boards, and also we have with our upcoming local government elections. I think it's a great opportunity to re-energize our young people. A lot of our young people back home are basically saying that we are getting the more or less the same thing. We had marginalization of our young people 20 years ago in the PVP government for 20 years now. And going forward, we're still having the same thing. I know President Granger has been a fierce advocate for young people. And right now, I think that one of the things that they have to be looking at is how to re-engage our young people, and which means that in our selection for upcoming agencies and boards, we need to get our young people involved. We also need to have the conversation shifted to have more young people in areas such as these NDCs, these local government organs as well, and also understudies within the current government. I think we could have our young people playing that kind of role there, understudying for the next upcoming ministers and cabinet and parliament and other agencies. It's a very.
So you're happy with the current situation?
No, I'm not happy.
Okay, you're unhappy then.
I think they've deviated a bit from the expectation. I think a lot of the young people are not happy, and I certainly agree.
So what are
with
some
them.
of the recommendations that you will make right now?
Well, I think we still have some boards that we need to appoint, and I think on every of those boards we need to have at least one or two young people. And the problem with us as young people is that we're not just looking for work. You know, I don't just want a job, but I think we want to be able to make a meaningful contribution to the social, political, and economical development of our country. And that's a unique opportunity. And in the agencies as well, we need to have, even if it's not at the director level or the head level, but in the understudies such as supervisors, managers. I had a unique opportunity to talk to many young people in our country who I think is very qualified and very capable of attaining these positions. And I think moving forward, especially since we're on the cusp of local government election and 2020 is not too far in the distance, I think we need to make a move soon as possible. The other thing is our national youth policy. For about 20, 25 years now, this has been a monkey on our back. And no government has been able to implement a national youth policy, which will correct some of these fears that we have and some of the errors we've made. And so as soon as we have that central parliament and have that implemented, I think our youth will see great
how soon